I have another question about another team in the West, the Phoenix Suns, who are struggling.
Okay.
Last night they played the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they also took a huge loss, 118 to 92, which is not a surprise. The Cavs are the best team in the Eastern Conference this season. But KD said something in another post-game interview. This one was at his
Okay.
locker. He said, and I want you to take us behind the curtain on this. He says, it's a tough defense to score on if you're thinking a shot is going to come open for you without you pressing the issue. We could have drove it a little bit more, but we don't play against a zone every game. We don't have a zone package yet. So the final bit of that quote of KD saying that they don't have a zone package yet in terms of an offense that they're going to run against a zone defense. It's January. We're 50% through the NBA season. At what point is this a Phoenix Suns thing or is it a every team in the league? At what point do you go through that and situationally, okay, cool. If we're going to face a team playing this style of zone, this is what we need to do, so on and so forth as a team. Is that something they should have figured out in training camp, in the preseason, or is that something that they don't really look at
Mhm.
until the playoffs come around?
Well, let me put it this way. I'm not gonna address that because I'm not gonna address the simplicity of that question. So you say, okay, so Coach Bud, you're telling me right now that they don't have a zone offense. That's what you're
Now,
saying
I'm
right
not
now.
telling you. Kevin Durant is telling you.
Kevin Durant is telling me that Coach Bud and his staff, 50 games or so into the season, however many games they played, they don't have a zone offense. Okay, great. Okay. Now, we're talking about one aspect of the game. Every zone offense, you can run that every zone defense, you can run your man-to-man offense versus that and execute. Okay? At a certain stage of your career, if you see a zone offense, a zone defense, it becomes natural instinct for me to say, oh, they're playing a zone defense. Let me attack the gaps. I'm a professional player. Let me take some responsibility here in a 24-second shot clock and apply the principles of a zone offense versus a zone defense. Meaning, if they're playing zone, let me put a player where they're not. If they're playing a 2-3, I'm going to basically play a 1-3-1 offense. If they're playing a 1-2-2, I'm going to play maybe a 2-1, put somebody in the baseline. Whatever the case may be, there are principles. However, here is the number one principle versus any zone defensive team: get stops.
Because then they can't set up the zone.
Okay. Now, I'm I don't play half of the game and expect to win the game. I don't apply the responsibility for me to say, well, he's the coach and I'm just a player. No, I don't. And I don't know there. So I'm not saying that's what Kevin Durant did, but that's what reported. I'm not even going to ask that question because I've watched Kevin Durant play in international competition and excel at an all-time.
All-time level against defenses where the
Versus
rules allow for the 3 seconds and,
yes, I Kevin Durant can score anywhere on anybody at any time in any generation. So I'm not sure that the level and the sophistication of whatever that question was applies to an elite offensive player like him. Because if it's one thing I know about Kevin Durant, he can score. And if it's one thing I know he understands as well as anyone that's ever played at any time in any generation, Kevin Durant knows how to put that ball in that basket.
hmm
He doesn't really need a play. He's that good.
hmm
He just has, he's
And
gifted.
and if I'm
Uh,
facing a team and they're running 2-3 zone, I'm just putting KD at the nail. And either that's going to pull the big
Now,
up or he's going to shoot the midi.
what I am concerned about when I watch this Phoenix Suns team play, because they have veteran players. This is not a young group trying to figure out their identity, trying to figure out who they are. They have a championship caliber coach. They have championship caliber players. They have a player in Devin Booker who's gone to the NBA Finals, an elite offensive player himself. Here's the thing I'm concerned about. What is the identity of this Phoenix Suns team? That's my main concern. We can sit here and talk about their zone offense. No, I'm not going down that path. I'm past that stage. If it's one thing I know, that Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just spent their entire summer playing on Team USA. Just on recall alone, they know how to play against a zone offense, a zone defense. Just on recall alone. Okay. I'm not concerned about their zone offense at 50 games. You know what I am concerned about with this group? I'm concerned about how about get some stops? How about every time I watch you guys, you're taking the ball out of the basket? How about your rebounding? How about sharing the basketball with each other? And how about identifying the responsibility of the players? Because they have veteran players. Do your job. See, I can talk to another professional and say, hey, what's your job? My job is to set screens. What's your job? Your job is to rebound. What's your job? Your job is to guard the other team's best offensive player. What is the identity of this team? Because Mo, they are expected, they were constructed with one idea, to win, and they're not doing it. And why are they not doing it, Mo? Because what's the identity of this group? Are they a defensive group? I don't know. Are they a group who limits the other team to one shot? Are they a group that likes to play fast, a la the Sacramento Kings? Are they a group who rim protects, a la Rudy Gobert or these teams, or the Cleveland Cavaliers this year? What's the identity of this group should be the only question that we're asking, because we know Coach Bud, when he has great players, he's a pretty good coach. So that I'm not gonna fall for that question, because I know one thing about Kevin Durant. Mo, if we were coaching Kevin Durant, we would not have a problem scoring that basketball. I can assure you that.
I don't need to coach Kevin Durant. Just let him be Kevin Durant.
Mo, I can do this very well. Let me just get out of his way.
Facts. But
Okay.
In response to the defense thing, that's why they put Ryan Dunn into the starting lineup and put Bradley Beal off the bench in an effort to get more defense in that lineup.
as you are,
And they trade. We didn't even discuss. They traded for Nick Richards, who's now their starting center.
yeah, I am. I know I say this, and it's not the thing to say that gets clicks, but it's the truth. You have to defend in this league. You have to defend. You have to, if you want to win. If you want to win, there's two things you have to do. Well, there's really three things, but there's two things for sure. You have to defend and you have to rebound. And then on the other end, you have to share the ball. That's called passing. And then you have to be a professional and do your job. What's your job, Mo? If your job is to set screens, do your job. If your job is whatever your job is, right now, Mo, scoring the ball shouldn't ever be a problem with this team. They have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It's not a problem. Okay. But what is the problem? Well, I'm going to put this guy. No, defense is played as a team last time I checked. That's a team thing. They have to figure out how they can defend. They have to figure out how they can rebound the basketball. I've said this before. I'll say it again. In my humble opinion, with Kevin Durant at this stage of his career, I do not want him playing the 4 position with that body type. I've said it when he was in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant is a magnificent 7-foot player who should play to his advantage. What's his advantage? He's a 7-footer. So why not have a big team, a tall team, when Kevin Durant's on the floor? Why? Yes, can he play the four in some parts of the game? Yes, of course he can. But let's allow him to be a 7 foot three man. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can at least address 7 foot, 7 foot as your center at 6'10 or 6'11. At least you can rebound. That's a start. At least you can rebound. Now instead of being a small team, you're a big team now. And then you can play different variations of that during the course of the game, depending on personnel, matchups, so forth and so on. But Kevin Durant should be a three man because he gives the team an unfair advantage. He's taller. I'm just trying to think who else plays who's something, Michael Porter Jr. maybe.
Yeah.
He's taller than most.
Yep.
So that gives them an advantage every night at one position. But on the other hand, you put him at the four, he's playing against people who are much bigger than him. So why I don't understand that. If I'm coaching him, when he's with the Golden State Warriors, yeah, he would start out as the three. Three, Draymond was a four, Kevon Looney, JaVale McGee, all those guys. That's a big team with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Kevin Durant gives you an advantage. To me, what's the point of having him if you're not going to utilize his strength? His strength is he is a 7 foot small forward who gives you an advantage, who can shoot and score on anyone. And he commands a double team. So to me, that's what it is. Unless Kevin Durant quietly behind the scenes is saying, hey, I only want to play the four for whatever reason that may be.